Friends, comrades, blood relatives, and people who still follow me after watching my slightly viral Mamma Mia 2 lookbook from 2018. I am once again here on your phone. The world has been increasingly shit recently on a global level, and since you asked, a little trying on a personal one too. Consequently, I have been writing a lot, but mostly things of the neurotic, circular, hand-scrawled, absolutely must never see the light of day variety. For a while now, I've been attempting to take writing seriously, which in my case involves submitting things to magazines and writing a novel while trying not to glance 3 lines back lest I read some of my own writing and perish from shame. Incidentally, I've concluded that most writing advice is terrible, but most advice about doing psychedelics can absolutely be applied to writing a first draft, and one should listen to that advice instead. The main downside with deciding to take writing seriously was that it coincided with the time in my life when it seems I must take other things seriously too, like getting a job, not getting pneumonia for the 5th consecutive time in 10 months, a heartbreak, trying to be of some use to the world as it circles the drain, etc., etc. So here I am, crawling back to you, having rudely ignored you for some time, requesting that you humor me and allow me to use this as a place to take creating unseriously, to vent, to gossip, to rant and rave, and, as in the case of this particular letter, to catch up with an old friend. This intro is taken from a Substack letter that I wrote. And I'll put a link in the description if you want to get little emails from me sometimes. I think I'm going to start this video with reading out a few more sections of this letter just to get us all on the same page. My New Year's resolution was do one thing at a time. So here's a quick update on the things I have been doing one at a time. January, try not to die of pneumonia. February, become more fluent in Spanish so that I can integrate more and create a real home in this city that I have chosen. March, try not to die of pneumonia again. April, learn to speak Catalan as a sign of respect and also so that the other Anglophones who live here know that I'm better than them. Hello, I'm back home, I'm cozy. It's like 6 p.m. I have an evening coffee, which is dangerous. Living dangerously is part of my shtick. The energy home with this evening is just this real excitement about this, the next 3 months in the space being a time of like going for walks in that park, going for little hikes, improving my health, and then like a lot of really playful creativity in the evenings whenever I can. I'm just like, I don't know if this is like speaking blessings into the space, you know what I mean? Like boundless creative energy and play. I feel really like I want to play in this next era of my life. In a weird way, I've been very serious about a whole bunch of things. A lot of things have felt very serious the last while, and I just really want this next era to be about being very playful, because a lot of things aren't that deep, and there are things now in my life that are very deep. There's things in the world that I want to be a part of, problems that I want to be part of the solution of that are very serious, and doing that work has been heavy as well as rewarding lately. I need to like make sure that the parts of my life that are supposed to be fun, and stay for me and stay energy giving rather than energy taking. But anyway, I just feel really excited right now. I think I did kind of get you into my head about some creative stuff, and I want to come back to what is the most pure and exciting and beautiful part of the thing that never feels tarnished or never feels compromised, which is like the journal. For me, journaling is like the habit I have that is never bad. Like nothing, I never have like writer's block in my journal. I have such a beautiful, I said today in a moment, a bit aside drama, but I think there's some truth to it that my journal is kind of the love of my life. And I feel very like purely and stillly close to it in a way that like doesn't get infected with like feelings about like, is this serious or is this good enough or whatever. It's just a playful creative space, and so I think I want to like play in that direction. And I think as I like work out what I want to share and how I'm going to like, in the Martha Beck podcast I listened to the other day, she was talking about like, this whole sense of idea of integration and the outer and inner worlds reflecting each other. And I think creatively as well as personally. I want that, and I think I want there to be like a sense of integration between like the joy and play and voice and conversation that happens in the journal and the one that if I choose to share creative stuff, what we perceive is like shareable, what we perceive as real art versus isn't, or real writing versus isn't. Like I'm really thinking about stuff like sharing scans of journals where it's like less legible but more valuable because the writing and the tactileness of the paper and the actual like physical fact of it is part of it. And like I'm thinking about like the journal is a very historically female form, and like what does that form hold, and like what does it mean that it's a writing form that is so intrinsically unself-conscious? It's so much about a conversation with the self. It's so not about ego historically. It's not like a confessional essay, because a confessional essay is a confession, whereas a journal entry, there's an intrinsic understanding that it's in the journal because it's not going to be revealed to the world. Most other writing has within it at least the possibility of publication, whereas journaling is like truly for the thrill of the kill, you know? Something so fascinating about the psychology of that to me. So that's just a little artist statement of it. Thursday evening, riffing with my pajamas and my Vivari Cafe Ambiente. So yeah.
Yo soy la gracia incaica que se roe entre enfermas coricanchas bautizadas de horrores de fosfato y de cicuta. A veces en mis piedras se encabritan los nervios rotos de un extinto puma, un fermento de sol, levadura de sombra y corazón.
On the 30th of April, my mum comes to visit. There's two of them, the fine people of Barcelona scream in horror. She once gave me the rather sensible advice that sometimes when your life has been a series of mounting horrors for several weeks, the only thing to do is to get extremely gratuitously drunk to reset. I can hear those words. When the hangover lifts, 2 days later you've completed the purging ritual and are fresh, like a snake who has shed its skin. When there has been a pervasive sense of bravery, let's get through this, and if I can just manage not to die by spring, I'll work the rest out for several months, a girl needs an interruption of routine, a sharp vibe shift, a reset. I am beginning to expect that bacchanal style bitching to your mother about everyone you've ever met, 3 vermouths deep, is more fundamentally healing than the Marie Kondo routines I dutifully clung to in my early 20s in times of crisis. We saw the city, we ate copious amounts of tapas, we watched the sunset, we laughed until we cried, and by the end I did feel like maybe some of the heaviness I have been sitting with might be beginning to shift. For a while things have been a little too chaotic to be truly playful, but as I come out of my purifying hangover, I feel I am ready to play again. I believe that creativity is impossible without play. I believe that healing is impossible without play. Hell, I even believe that having the stamina to fight for justice on a global or local scale requires play. A while ago, my aunts and I got talking about Emily in Paris, and to my surprise, they began extolling her virtues. Like much of the internet, I was initially unconvinced by this questionably dressed minor croissant influencer. Although in hindsight that may have been jealousy, since on balance there's nothing I'd love more than to be a questionably dressed minor croissant influencer. The main virtue they identified was this: no matter what happens to Emily, be it minor humiliation, major heartbreak, or potentially ruinous career setback, she only ever experiences about 2.5 minutes of despair before catching sight of the Eiffel Tower. Edith Piaf swells, a travel montage begins. Once again, she forgets her troubles because the plot is really just a vehicle for scenic travel shots, beautiful bars, glamorous outfits, campy montages, and hot French chefs. And what I'm telling you right now is that I am 27 years old in a very sexy city, and I've decided to adopt the philosophy that, at least some of the time, the plot of my life is a mere vehicle for scenic travel shots, beautiful bars, glamorous outfits, campy montages, and hot Catalan chefs. Ah yes, campy montages, universal symbol of the human spirit enduring. I think I'll end this here. I've been thinking a bit lately about how I used to legitimately not be a perfectionist at all. And it stood me very well. I remember thinking I really ought to be more of a perfectionist. Like when I was in school, I was very creative. I remember thinking that like, I would just half-ass things. Like I would write a song and perform it for the school. And I didn't necessarily think that I was that good at singing. And I wasn't that good at the guitar. Like legitimately, I didn't have any particular guitar skills. But I was just like, what are you gonna do? Like I wrote a song and I'm performing it for you all. And no one else is doing that. So I think I'm going to get away with this. Like, I think I'm going to get away with not being really that polished because it's a good bit. Like, this is not that deep. I don't know, when I started making YouTube videos, I remember thinking, like, that I would just make them and then move on very casually. And I remember thinking, like, probably if I was more like the other people and spent longer on them, was more perfectionist-y and didn't upload things until they were, like, really good, I'd probably be better at it. But I was out there and I was doing stuff, and I think recently I became more of a perfectionist, and I think I really thought that was going to like level up my creativity and all my little hobbies and all the things I love to do, but it actually just kind of suffocated. It just made me stop creating immediately. So I want to go back to just sort of being like, hey, here's a vlog. Is it cinema? No. I stand by what I said about camping montages and hot Catalan chefs at the top of this video. I feel like summer's coming. We're warming up. I want to have fun this summer. I think the last few years have been lovely but tricky in so many ways. And I'm just like ready to glow, you know? Like I want the girls to be glowing. I want the girls to be in their prime. I want to be just literally enjoying myself. So yeah, and I've always loved making videos. It's always been a very playful thing, so I want to come back to it. I hope you enjoyed this little visual diary of my week. It's been a pleasure as always. Please let me know how you're doing. I feel like I know loads of you and would love to know how you're doing and if you watch this whole thing. And I'll see you soon.